Media personality Musa Mseleku has a show on DSTV that helps men ask for permission from their wives to take another wife. How does polygamy fit into today's society? We're joined by Musa Mseleku himself for a discussion. In fact, he will be joining us in just a moment, Mr. Mseleku, to tell us a bit more about his new show. Stand by for, let me see if we do have him. Mr. Mseleku, I wonder if you can hear me. So tell me about your latest offering. How does it differ from your previous one? Previously, we saw you showcasing your lifestyle and polygamy within your context, but now it seems you are now helping other men to get into this kind of lifestyle. Why?
The reason why we have decided to have this new reality show is because there was a lot of interest coming from men within the country who were expressing an interest of having polygamy. And then I decided with the other producers to have this reality show. So the difference here is that
I can hear you, Mr. Mseleku. Please go ahead.
So the difference here is that it's not only my family that is involved, but we have a number of different people that are also involved, and we are also extending it to the largest community at large.
Right. So entertainment and getting people talking and shock value and the likes, drama and tension are all the ingredients of a good reality show. But beyond that, what are you aiming at achieving in terms of the conversation on polygamy and culture in South Africa in 2020?
What we would like to achieve, it's bigger than entertaining people, but is to inform them and educate everyone around the issues of polygamy. More than that, what is important and key is that we want to reach a stage where polygamy will be acceptable like any other marriage. Because what normally happens is that if you want to pursue to be a polygamist, people will, criticize you, and they will view you as a person who's only interested to have more women than any other normal person.
In fact, you talk about that criticism. Talk to me about the process that you go through in helping these men communicate with their wives, their desire to take a second wife. There's always been this question of whether or not the first wife is consulted and, her permission is being asked, or she's merely being informed, which then also has other implications in terms of the esteem and status of women in these institutions of polygamous marriages. What process do you undertake? Do the men that you go with simply inform their first wives, or is it a consultation whose possible outcome could be, no ways, you're absolutely not taking a second wife?
The format that we are using to produce this show is a simple one where we would not want the first wife to know that we are coming with this particular request. For a simple reason, we want the reaction to be so natural. We don't want the reaction to be informed prior we can introduce the subject. So what normally happens is that men outside in the country, they approach us and then ask for this kind of an assistance. So what we do, we verify whether are they really married to the first wife, and then do they have those girlfriends. So once we have been able to establish that as a production team, we then therefore call them to come with the girlfriend as well as the wife. But they don't know that this is what is going to happen. It's only the man who's properly informed. So the rest becomes a reality, because we would want to see at the end of the day how is the reaction of the first wife is going to be when we finally make a request to her.
What do you say to people who say that the whole institution is outdated, the whole institution of a polygamous marriage, people criticizing and saying it treats women as, property, that, a man can simply acquire more and more of, and all these conversations about subjecting women to perpetual minority, basically women continuing to be deemed as children, with the man leading the household of many, many women?
I will beg to differ with those people who are saying the whole institution is outdated or is backwards, in the sense that most women or men, they practice polygamy without knowing that they are in it. That is why sometimes you find ourselves as a country having experienced a number of domestic violence based on the fact that sometimes when women, they discover that their men are cheating, then they will get frustrated and start fighting with their husbands or boyfriend. So I think we are, people who are practicing polygamy are being realistic in the sense that we have realized that no matter how we can try to have one partner, it doesn't happen. So I'm simply saying even those who have tried so hard to convince themselves that they will remain having one partner, they have failed. I think that is the system that is failing. The system that we are having is the one that should be recognized and embraced. In fact, if it's done properly, we would not experience a number of domestic violence and children neglect. Otherwise, we will have a proper and healthy, functional society where the marriage system embraces polygamy as the way of life. And I think that is the way to go in the 21st century.
Lastly, Mr. Mseleku, talk to me about the ethics of it all, in that, the few episodes that we have seen of Mnakwethu, it appears as if, the first wives were not told up front to say, I will want to take a second wife at a particular point. Is that ethical? Because they commit to an institution that many of them assume will be, one husband, one wife, only for them to be ambushed in a way a few years later that actually I want to be in a polygamous marriage.
The mere fact that we go there as a production team or as Mnakwethu and make a request to the first wife, I think is one step towards the right direction, because normally if you want to create a proper, healthy, functional family based on the polygamous principles, you need to make that request to the first wife. So when we go to see her and make that request, I think that is the right way, other than having a man doing it outside of her knowing. Maybe what then needs to happen is that once we have gone and asked her as part of the production team, we need to go further than that and engage them and see what happens after we have gone. Because I think that is important to make sure that the sustainability and the stability of the family, as well as the healthy livelihood of the family, is maintained.
Right.
And we can only maintain that if we make sure that we make follow-ups now and again in ensuring, even if we haven't received a yes, even if we have received a no, but we must make sure that we make a follow-up to make sure that there is no violence.
All right.
There is only peace within the family.
Mr. Musa Mseleku, thank you so much talking to me there about his latest production that focuses on the polygamous lifestyle, Mnakwethu, talking to me about that particular production. This is Upfront here on ENCA.